This is the Tree of Life, Season 24, Chapter 7. In this episode, we will be expanding on the last episode with respect to elimination of upward mobility and the formation of castes. As explained in the last 3 episodes, hierarchies impose a context length which determines the distance, i.e. number of dialectical steps, between 2 substitutionary impulses in an analog structure. This context length determines the extent to which an individual's sublimation may cause a shift in consensus. The manner by which this context length is imposed is through compelled acquiescence within a sequential substitution event following reverse substitution. By limiting this context length, an individual is maintained within a state of reversed priority, alienated from the ability to sublimate. Now, what is sublimation? Sublimation is an act of creation. By alienating the ability to sublimate, hierarchical natural law reduces not just the ability of someone to impact consensus, by restricting them to a given range, but also the ability to produce anything creatively. Their action becomes restricted by expectation matching during reverse substitution, according to the goal-oriented actions of the higher in priority. Thus, not only are they restricted from creative endeavors, they are robbed of the product of their labor, whilst having limited ability to shape consensus. Now, in the last episode, we talked about how it is as if rather than a unitary experience of time, the world is broken into circular shells, or plates spinning around an axis. These plates can interact, but the rate of change in consensus represented by any act of negation and sublimation for any subject is limited to that determined hierarchically by the compelling of acquiescence by the higher in a sequential substitution event. In other words, rather than a world with upward mobility, instead we have a caste-based system, where one's role is determined within the hierarchy to the benefit of those senior in the hierarchy. Most importantly, the alienation of the ability to create through sublimation is the loss of all the benefits of that creativity, from problem solving to artistic invention. The caste determines the bounds of the role, which determines the extent and the manner by which you may shape consensus. Now, how is this enforced? In the past, hierarchies were maintained by supraspatial edges, interactions between the plates. An individual on the higher plate might experience a faster arrow of time, which results in these intersections with a lower within substitution events compelling acquiescence. But with the advent of commercial artificial intelligence, consensus and context length is determined arithmetically to the benefit of a particular caste. Artificial intelligence doesn't just map these supraspatial edges, it shapes them. The result is a system where any interaction with digital media becomes a sequential substitution event, an opportunity for the hierarchy to impose a context length and alienate the ability to sublimate, limiting the ability of a person to shape the consensus. The imposition of a caste. We haven't just entered an age of intellectual feudalism, we've entered an age where the consensus may only be shaped by the select few. We have returned to a caste system where those lower in the hierarchy are deprived of their ability to create, where their work and labor is solely for the benefit and enrichment of those elevated in the privileged caste. That's the end of the podcast for today.